Hello my friends, and welcome to today's video. I'm Jeanette with Vivo Vintage Designs. In today's video I am going to show you how I mount all the Christmas cards that I've made so far onto cards. And the paper that I'm using to make my cards, and of course you can buy these cards already made at Michael's or on Amazon, you can find them anywhere, but I prefer to make my own. And the paper that I'm using is very inexpensive watercolor paper. I've mentioned it before in my other videos. I also like to use these to make this paper to make bookmarks and gift tags as well. But I believe the name of the company is You Create. I'm not sure, but I will be sure to link it in the description box along with everything else just below the video. If you look below the video and you don't see the list, click on Show More and it will expand and you'll see everything there. But this paper, I think I get like 50 sheets for like $10, and it could be even more. I'll have to check. Not more money, but more sheets. Anyway, it's great stuff. I don't know if you can see this, but the paper is really thick. It's not great for watercolor, but it's great to make cards with. So what I like to do is I like to create an assembly line and do everything all at once. So I only have 4 sheets here. This is one full sheet cut in half, which will make 2 cards, which is great. Now sometimes you need to trim the painting to fit on the card properly. Other times you don't, but some of these I added borders, and I didn't trim them. So we're going to see what we can do about that. Now, this is what I do to create the fold in the card. I take the paper and I fold it in half. I try to match it up as best I can. And then I just give it a little press with my fingers. And then I use a ruler and I put that ruler right up against the fold line. And I use a stylus. This has the little ball tip. And I use that to score the paper so that it folds nicely. And once I get that little fold, let me see if I can find something that doesn't have paint on it. You can use anything to press it down, and it gives you a much better fold than just folding the paper and pushing it down with your fingers. It becomes uneven at the top. So let's see. I also have here some Posca pens, and I even have an alcohol ink marker. But what I find is that the alcohol ink markers bleed through the paper onto the other side, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's adhere this card here. Make sure I put it on the right side. So I like to create a little border, and I could easily trim this card so that I don't actually have to create a border. You can do anything you want. I mean, if I trim the card down, I will lose this border that I created. So let me get a paper towel and we'll create a border and do our best to center this on here so it looks good. So I've chosen this blue. It's called Sky Blue. And these are Touch New markers, alcohol ink markers, very inexpensive. I bought them on Amazon, and they work really well for what I use them. So I'm just going to put a border around the paper, or rather my card. I may have to thicken it up a little bit, we'll see. And then you can put your card down. And I have to thicken it up a little bit on the top and bottom so that the white doesn't show. And you can get as creative as you want with these borders. You can add gold and silver, and which I may do. I love me some borders. Let me just darken this one up a little bit too. All right, that should do it. What did I do with the cap? All right, there it is. So now I can adhere my card. That's not bad at all. And what I use to adhere the cards, you can use double-sided tape. You can use anything you want to adhere your painting to the card. But I find the Elmer's washable stick glue to be so easy. I've made a mess with double-sided tape, and you know, a lot of people use it. I think it's great, but this is just so much easier for me. And so I just rub it on the back. It goes on purple but dries clear, and it works great on the photo paper. I've not had any issues. So now let's take our little card, try and center this. That's pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a silver acrylic pen, and I think I might want to do like a little silver border around here just to spruce it up a little bit. I'll be right back. All right, so I found my silver water-based marker, but it is dry, so of course I can't use that. So I'll leave this like that. I think it's pretty. So again, if you create an assembly line, it goes by pretty quickly. If you take all your paper and fold it, and then do your backgrounds for each card. For instance, let's do another one. This one is pretty. I think I'm just going to leave the background white so that it matches the tree. So I take the card again, and I make sure that my ends match up as best I can get them. Push down a little bit, and you can see if you fold the paper like this, your line is not straight. So I really do recommend that you use something to score it. If you don't have the stylus with a little ball at the end, maybe a pen that no longer works, or if you have a glass pen, even anything with a point should work well. And be careful not to push down too hard, because you can go right through the card. So, okay, we've got our fold. And again, I did not trim this card because I drew the border. I wasn't thinking about applying it to the card. I was just creating the painting. But let me see if I have one that I've trimmed. This one here is done on watercolor paper, and I did do a tutorial for this one, but I haven't posted it. And I did trim this one down, and you can see that it fits a little bit better on the card. And this one's really cute. I like this one. So let's adhere this one, and then we'll create a border for it as well once it's on the card, which is something I do often. So the glue stick works just as well on watercolor paper. This is Arch's watercolor paper that I did this painting on. So I want to make sure I get it all around the ends, rather the edges. The only thing is that you have to be careful that if you get glue on your paper towel, that when you put your card down, you don't get it on your card as well. So be careful with that. Now let's center this. I got it on here. Thank God it dries clear. Okay, so I'm going to press down. And because this is Arch's watercolor paper, it's kind of thick. You may have to put something a little heavy on it. So let's find, yeah, this is gonna take a minute. Let's let this dry, and then we'll come back to this one. In the meantime, I'm going to put something heavy down on it so that it stays. And we'll move on to another card, and I'll show you how I create a border for some of these once they're on the card. Let's see if I have one that I did trim and forgot about. I think I trimmed this one. All right, let's try this one. I'll fold it. Push it down. Let me turn this over. I'll score it. Smooth it down, and let's see. I know I trimmed one of them. Let me look through these and see if I find it. Nope, that must have been it. Okay, so let's get some glue on here. And I'm doing this quickly for the sake of the video. I usually take my time and make sure that I get enough glue in all the areas so the painting doesn't come off the card, but I've not ever had that happen, but just in case. Okay, so let's line this up. And then I think I would like a little red border around here. Let me see if I can find one of these smaller tip pens to create a border. I'll be right back. Okay, so I found one with a small tip in red. So I'm just going to use the painting as my guide and do, oh, come on, no. I love this card, don't mess it up. All right, that doesn't seem to be working, so let's bring out the big guns. I've got a Posca pen. And I will use the painting as my guide. And the Posca pens don't bleed through, whereas the alcohol ink markers have a tendency to bleed through a little bit. You can see that. So that's why I try to stay away from the alcohol ink markers on these cards. You can also mount the card on some other background and then mount it onto your card. Or if you have Posca pens, you can even use, because it's watercolor paper, you can use watercolor to create your background. If you want one, a border on your card, you can just mount the card as is onto the, mount your painting rather onto the card and just leave it as it is. That's pretty just as well. But if you follow me regularly, you know that I always go the extra step, because I can never leave well enough alone. And there you go. I think that's really cute. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and that if you are creating your own cards, you find this information helpful. Again, you can always buy your cards already made on Amazon or at Michael's. Any craft store will have them already made. Be sure to trim your cards so that you get a nice even border around the card. And that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this, found this information helpful. Please be sure to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, or subscribe. Your interaction is very helpful to my channel, and I really appreciate it. It's also a very nice and sweet way to show your support. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.